Folks, what's up? This is Michael on the Graveyard Shift with your daily trivia question. Once again, in the very wee hours of the night, and I hope your week has gone well. It's Friday. Happy Friday, man. That's what I'm talking about. It's payday Friday, too. Whoop, whoop, kind of a double dose of goodness. Oh, man, and the end of a busy, hot, sticky week. Let's get ready for the weekend, shall we? Let's do it. Let's get through today. Anyways, the answer to the previous trivia question was none other than Miss Mary Surratt. So Mary Elizabeth Jenkins Surratt was convicted of taking part in a conspiracy which led to the assassination of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln back in 1865. And as a result of her conviction, she was sentenced to death, subsequently hanged, and became the first woman to be executed by the U.S. federal government. Not a distinguished factor that you want to go down in history for. But nonetheless, her guilty conviction was controversial, and it still remains somewhat of a mystery to this day. Surratt has maintained her innocence up until her death. Mary Surratt's husband, little history here, died unexpectedly in 1862, 3 years prior, causing serious financial difficulties for Mary and the rest of the Surratt family. In an effort to kind of consolidate operations in a manner, coupled with unpaid debt, Mary made the move from Maryland to inside of Washington, D.C., into the now famous townhouse, which she would later convert to a boarding house. And it was at this location in this boarding house over time that her and her family became associated with the likes of people like John Floyd, George Astaroth, Lewis Powell, and of course, John Wilkes Booth. All of these people would go on to conspire to be involved in the plot to assassinate, kidnap, and eventually assassinate President Clinton, all of whom would frequent Surratt's house for a short period during what would eventually become, again, the conspiracy. So following Lincoln's assassination, federal authorities would visit Surratt's townhouse multiple times as it became a center point of sorts for the conspirators, and that significant factor surfaced in the investigations. Mary would soon be arrested for her involvement with these people, tried, convicted, and of course, like a focus of the trivia question, died by hanging. Some geek factoids, some significant geek factoids. This is a fascinating story. It really is when you think about the history involved in all this this aspect of the Lincoln assassination. Mary Surratt's daughter stayed with her up until the morning of her execution and actually left her side to go across the way to the White House in person to beg for her mother's life. Of course, to no avail. From the scaffold, where everyone was being prepared and wrapped in masks and wrapped in rope and so forth to be getting ready to be hanged, Lewis Powell, one of the other conspirators who was a couple of people down from her, said, quote, "Miss Surratt is innocent. She doesn't deserve to die with the rest of us." I did not know that. I've heard of Mary Surratt. I've heard of her hanging along with the other conspirators, the whole stories, but I didn't know that there were others there on the plank with her who were pleading for her innocence. John Surratt, Mary's son, was also later tried for conspiracy as well, but due to the statute of limitations, he was not convicted. Mary Surratt's boarding house is still very much around. It still stands today, and it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2009. It's actually a Chinese restaurant called Wok and Roll. Can't make that stuff up there. There's a small little picture of it there, but you can look that up on the internet and Google and so forth. Surratt's heirs, this was interesting, have long fought to have her name cleared of the conspiracy conviction that led to her death. And that is kind of the new thing now, either seeking clemency and to have your name cleared, or to seeking post-convictions as well. So that's kind of the end thing, and I hope her family gets that justice for sure someday. All right, folks, without any hesitation, let's move this day along so we can get to the weekend. For July 8th, brand new trivia question on this day in 2015. This is a recent one. After over 200 years in existence in New York City, this abruptly shuts down for close to 4 hours due to a so-called technical error causing panic on a global basis. That's all the information I'm going to give you, folks. There's a lot of things that could fit into that. Have a good Friday. Have an even better weekend. And thanks for all you do. I love you guys. Peace out.